Why, hello. Welcome to a Samsplain. Samsplains the world. I'm Samantha Bremenkamp, your host, and I'm going to teach you things that I learned the hard way so that you don't have to. Let the blonde in me guide you through what I've learned so everything's a lot easier. This, my friends, used to hold chicken. Don't worry, I washed it out after I took the raw chicken out of it, and now it's a seed starting tray, and look how prolific it is. I found a nice sunny window, and if you don't have a sunny window, or if it's going to rain a lot, you could look into grow lights if you have the budget for it. Otherwise, you can get creative. What I like about this is that there are different rows of so many different kinds of plants, and they grow differently. So obviously, the bigger plants I just transplanted by taking a spoon, carefully getting all the roots out, and putting it in a cup. It's a party cup. This is how I party now, by gardening. Because there is no party like a garden party, because a garden party literally doesn't stop, ever, year-round. You can garden forever. But the important thing is to know that gardening is really healthy for you. It's fun. It's really awesome. I swear it tastes better when you grow your own stuff. But the biggest thrill is that you're able to take stuff out of your recycling and reuse it for gardening. So you don't have to like kill your budget or a budget that you don't have. I know it's hard when you have a new hobby not to just want to throw money you don't have at it, but this is such an easy thing to do. There are so many options. Maybe you got into bread baking and then you got over it. So now you can use it for a beautiful, hip, trendy planter. These will eventually go outside. They're sugar snaps. But we're in that false spring, which is tough because it's so warm out right now. But next week it's supposed to dip down into the 30s, which would kill all these things, which is why, unfortunately, it's not yet time to throw stuff outside for growing. But let me just show you some other really fun planters. This one's had mushrooms in it, and now it has baby tomato plants. And this Tupperware, whose lid I can't find anymore, now also has different babies. There are so many things you can use. If you do have a little bit of a budget or you need a bigger container before you're able to plant something outside, I got this for $2. It says it on there, $2, and this is from the Ocean State Job Lot. They have such cheap things. This is a 6-inch pot, which is unheard of. So I highly recommend checking out the different stores if you're going to buy stuff and not just going to Lowe's or Home Depot or a big box store. Sometimes you can find really, really good priced things elsewhere. And sure, sometimes maybe those places do have a better price depending on what's happening and what they're trying to promote. But the good news is, if you already have chicken in your fridge, you likely already have a seed starting container. You just need to wash it with soap and water, which is awesome. And when you do it this way, the plants that get too big, that get replanted for in a party cup, makes way for a whole new row of things. I'm about to plant new things in that empty row on the side and put it back in the sun. You can tell there's things of different sizes in this chicken container. Little baby tomato plants that are too small to get replanted. So they'll stay in. The bigger things like the sunflowers or the pumpkins, what have you, will be carefully scooped out with a spoon or my fingers and put into a party cup. I'll fill it a third with dirt, put in the plant because it's gonna have a lot of roots, and then fill in around it with dirt and water it and put it back in the sun until finally the weather behaves itself enough for me to plant things outside, but we are not there yet. Hold fast, we will get there. Until then, check out your recycling and or jar collection and see what you already have to start your garden inside. You don't need a fancy apparatus. You already have things all around you. And that is the beauty of gardening. You can do it in anything, anywhere, as long as you make it work and try. And sure, not everything's gonna grow, and that's okay. I have a whole row of something that just hasn't woken up yet. I haven't given up on it yet. We'll give it some more time and see. Worst case scenario, plant something else. These sunflower seeds grew, and now they're about 3 inches or more, and they're overcrowded. This is a great tray for starting the seeds, but they need a bigger home. So I have put nice potting soil in these $2 pots that I got. And I'm going to transplant them. I'm going to use a spoon and my fingers because I don't want to harm them in any capacity. So yeah, get ready for some really great footage of me digging up and replanting really cute sunflowers. Okay. Wait till you see the roots. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. You guys. So yeah, tons and tons of roots, and I will separate them out and then put them in their own bigger pot. Now these will eventually go outside and be planted in the ground directly because these are sunflowers and these are the type that get really big. So it would make sense to put it in a pot because they would topple over eventually. So hence me doing it the way I'm doing it. When you're doing this, you have to be mindful of the other plants around it, like these baby tomatoes. They're teeny tiny and are not enjoying this, but it'll be over soon. And as long as you don't touch them or harm their roots, they'll be fine. But that's one thing you need to consider when you're replanting into bigger containers and you're using a tray that has multiple types of plants on it. Just be mindful, be careful. I mean, the good news is if you are able to grow things that have like a high germination rate, which means there's a high probability that they'll grow, you're gonna have too much of things. That's what I've learned, that more seeds take than I expect, and then you have to figure out things to do with it. So gifts, borders on the property, or if you're super savage, you could take the ones that are teeny tiny and like, you know, nature would have culled them anyway and you can cull them, but I just don't have the heart to do that. But if you do, that's okay. Man, it's great, good for you. Most gardeners probably have that ability. I'm one of those people who personifies inanimate objects. So yes, I get attached to plants, of course. And yes, I want to see them survive anything. But you don't have to be as intense as that. That's your call. But thanks for coming to this little bit of Samsplain. Sunflower repotting edition. Don't be nervous about gardening. You're gonna do great and it's gonna be amazing. As I'm breaking up these super cute sunflowers, you know, it's sad. They could be in love. I don't know, they're just a plant, but I do need to gently, gingerly separate them so that they have an actual chance. Most things don't like to be overcrowded. Sunflowers are one of those things. So just be very careful with your delicate, beautiful rootage baby sunflower. They need to be separated. It's sad but true, because that's nature. After transferring your new plants, of course, they're gonna be a little thirsty, so just give them a little bit of water. You don't wanna drown them, but you know, they've been through a traumatic experience of being replanted, so they do need a sip of water. And then you'll see them perk up and they'll be much happier because you're giving them more space, and that's what's important in gardening, making sure you're respecting the plant and its needs and wishes. So here we have it. These will be standing up in no time, and soon enough it'll be warm enough to put them out in the dirt. But until then, I will keep playing inside and sharing with you the process, one garden party to another. Some I put in cups, some I put in containers. I'm just trying different things in case one method isn't gonna work for whatever reason. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. Specifically, who said that? I don't know. I'll pretend I made that up. I don't think there's anything better than hearing the birds chirping, knowing spring is just around the corner, and gardening already. My chicken tray overfloweth with seeds that I have started, and I'm going to transplant some Right now I'm taking this awesome, used to hold ground beef, and then it got thoroughly washed with soap and water. I'm going to put dirt in it, and then I'm going to transplant these little baby tomato plants. The variety I'm going to transplant first is the Candyland. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or ever had it, but Candyland tomatoes are current style, so they're like super teeny tiny little tomatoes with the most delicious, potent flavor that I've ever had in any tomato variety. I highly recommend them. I cultivate the seeds every year because they're the best, and in my old garden, they actually come up themselves. They regenerate, which is super awesome. And so we'll see if I'm able to get that going in the new space, in this new garden, and you'll take that journey with me, which will be super fun. But for now, since it's still winter technically, and it's too cold to put little babies out, baby plants, I'm going to just transplant things to bigger containers until it's safe to put them out. That's the fun part about gardening inside. You have the excitement of watching things grow, and also you get to play an important role in making sure they get everything they need inside without the harsh reality of really cold weather outside. But anyway, I'm gonna grab some dirt and you can watch me do this. You're gonna love it. My tray now has delightful dirt, and now I'm going to transplant a tomato row into it. Carefully move the sunflower out of the way, and these guys are kind of banded together. I'm going to separate them into their own spots. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, okay. Now, I started seeds. A way that I like to do it, and you can too if you want, I take a little bit of paper towel, I dampen it, and I put the seeds in it in a little Ziploc bag in a window. Could not be easier. You can do it with your family, you can do it by yourself. And there's very little to it outside of making sure that the paper towel stays moist, so you can use like a spritzer. And really you just have to be patient and wait and watch. And like that's the toughest part, because you're like, want it to grow faster than anything. Something that might help a little bit, that I find helps, just because, you know, winter can be super depressing. You know, talk to your seeds. Talk to your little sprouts. The carbon dioxide coming out of your mouth is actually really good for them. And in turn, they are filtering the air and giving us back delicious, delicious oxygen. So, plus, they won't interrupt you and they can't stop you from talking. Great therapy. Gardening. But I have separated them so they have their own little spot. Some of them have stayed with the paper towel and some haven't, and that's okay. They don't need to be with the paper towel. It doesn't matter. But the ones that are, you're gonna have to perform like a little bit of a surgery. Like these two have become entwined, like they're dancing, which is like super, super cute. And could be a great pictures book, but right now you need to keep it separated by very delicately, gingerly pulling them apart. That was a lot easier than I anticipated, which is great. But sometimes, depending on the plant, the roots can be, or like, you know, just the plants don't want to be separated. And depending on what variety they are, maybe you can actually keep them as is, or you can hopefully separate them. But you'll figure it out depending on what the plant is. The good news is we all have those computers in our hand most of the time, so you can always Google it to make sure you're doing the right thing. Some things like to be close together, some things really don't. So, okay, so that was the Candyland. Make sure you tuck them in nicely. They're gonna get a little sip of water, and I'm gonna change another row and put it in here as well of tomatoes, just because the sunflowers and melons, as they grow, they take a lot of nutrients and soil. They grow a lot faster than tomatoes. So I have decided to rehouse the tomatoes for their own safety and happiness. This variety is called Weaver's Black Brandywine Tomato, which will be about this size, like a nice, great for slicing or just eating like an apple if you're like me. But really delicious, beautiful color, and really fun. Great in salads, great straight up, little caprese salad, cheese and tomato sandwiches. There is nothing better than a homegrown tomato. There really isn't. Once again, pointing out, I had started these in paper towel in a windowsill to give them a jump start. They took very well to this, and they actually kind of stayed separated how I had laid them out. Depending on how big the seeds are, if you are going to try to start it in a paper towel, in a baggie, in a windowsill, try to space them out. I know like some of the seeds are so little, they're like the size of like a pin prick. And yeah, that's not gonna be super easy to keep them separated. But the bigger seeds, sunflower, watermelon, even tomatoes or peppers, you have a better chance of just keeping them separated in the paper towel to begin with, just to make your life easier. And oh, so fun. Love it. They're looking good. Okay. And I don't think I'm going to put any more in here. I'm going to add a little water and find another container, which we have a lot of because, you know, we're humans and we have an exceptional collection for recycling, or in the garage or the basement or that one cabinet where you just shove everything, like your Tupperware that doesn't match any of the lids. Why don't you use that to grow things instead of chucking it? Because as we know, plastic kind of hangs out for a really long time. So you may as well repurpose it for now and help yourself to start a garden, which is great. It's a lot of fun. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Thank you for stopping by for this little tidbit on relocating super cute tomato babies from a chicken container to a ground beef container. It doesn't get more exciting than that. So I don't just eat meat all the time. You may recognize this container. It used to have flying saucers in it. The most delicious flying saucers I have found around here is at Sweet Ride in West Reading. They have the best ice cream, and they make giant Oreo flying saucers. And they're actual Oreos. They say it on the giant cookie. And they're so good, you can get it with vanilla or chocolate. But one fun thing is, it then, after you eat them, I don't know where they went, you can make it, it's like a biodome. So now I'm going to plant new seeds in my new container that I'm recycling instead of putting in a landfill for right now. These seeds are called Angelica Biennial, and so they're going to be really awesome, beautiful flowers. I have stored these in anticipation of this very moment in the fridge because they like to be cold when they're first starting, and they like to rotate between warm days and cold days, which is perfect for this time of year because our weather is wacky. So I'm going to carefully open it. This little packet of Mighty Seeds came from an organization that I might have mentioned before, which is a non-for-profit run by all volunteers called freeheirloomseeds.org. And I got them for free, which is awesome. And if you donate a little bit of money, you can get way more packets. Otherwise, I think right now you get about 10 for free, shipped to your house. You can't beat that. But because I'm working inside with these tiny seeds, I'm not going to wear gloves, obviously, and I'm going to gently place them in their new home, their new biodome home. So I'm going to treat each of these little indents where half of a flying saucer had been as a row, and I will put 3 in each just for to ensure that enough grow for my garden. you can try to grow as many as you want. Right now I'm placing them, and then I will stick them in with my finger because that's gardening. Again, for my friends that like hate getting dirty, you're very welcome to wear gloves the whole time. You also have that beautiful ability to wash your hands. So, you know, you're only withstanding dirt for a little bit of time. But I get it. Not everybody's built for such stuff. Now I'm going to poke them in. Boop, 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 boop. You can pre-poke holes if you want. These are pretty hardy seeds, so I just felt like I can do it this way without damaging them or anything. They don't need to be buried that deep if you're starting them inside or outside. Keep in mind, when you start to plant things outside, if you direct sow, which means you put the seeds outside directly in the ground or in a pot or whatever, there's going to be some interest, and the interest is going to come from birds and chipmunks and squirrels and things like that. So be mindful and aware that you're probably being watched by nature, who cannot wait for this smorgasbord of seeds. So just be prepared and keep them protected however you can. But yeah, I'll add a little water, I'll close the dome, and I'll go put it in a windowsill. And then impatiently, I'll go look at it every day until I've noticed that it has sprouted seeds, and then I'll share that with you guys. But you can literally use anything, even flying saucer containers. And if you have to eat them yourself, that's between you and your flying saucers. That's nobody's business. But thank you for stopping by for this little clip of a Samsplain Biodome Edition Flying Saucers. Check out Sweet Ride, by the way, the best. And no, they're not sponsoring me. I just really love their ice cream. Oh, hey, welcome to a quick Samsplains World Basil Edition. This beautiful beast of a basil plant started out from the grocery store in a tiny sleeve. It was a wimpy little thing. And in the dead of winter, when you're desperate for fresh basil for the meal that you're providing, you go to the grocery store and this is what you find. And instead of making the mistake I have made year after year, do not try to plant it in soil. The reason grocery stores are able to sell things like this is because of hydroponics. Hydroponics, as you are probably well aware, requires no soil, and they are just growing directly in water. So what do? You get a jar, you fill it with clean water, and you get an apparatus like a plastic cup. This is a holiday cup that a good friend of mine gave me. Thank you so much, you're the best. And because it's off season, I'm using it for gardening now. I have poked some holes in the bottom so the roots can get out. Nice clean roots because of hydroponics. And gently placing it directly into the water. The roots, of course, not the plant. And it has like quadrupled inside. Look at this beauty. It has new growth, new life, and all because it came from a sleeve in a grocery store. It still counts as gardening because you have made this plant a magnificent beast of a basil plant that you're able to show off, makes a great centerpiece, a great gift, and you can use it for cooking all of the time. It just continues to give new growth no matter how much we pluck off of it. So thank you for stopping by for this really easy Samsplain that I learned a super hard way. And because of that, you don't have to. So go ahead and impress some people or yourself because you are awesome. And if I can do it, you can do it. And because I learned the hard way, you don't have to. It's the whole point of Samsplain. Can you smell that? Yeah. Is that not what you do? You could. Anyway, you do you, boo-boo. Thanks for stopping by.